Here we go, and it is time for another sprint zone. This one is for 325, and the temperatures are definitely warming up this year as everyone has pretty much come out to play in their summer garb. Tight shot there, and I'd like to take this time to thank Scott, as always, for his telemetry and his video. Still heading up County Road 5 at a reasonable tempo. My heart rate's 155, a little high, but let's hope that changes later on in the season. Good shot of the legendary JC there, and Curtis, looks like Travis and Isla there on the fluorescent bike. And everyone is in a good mood today. It's really good to start the season off, and it is a strong season so far. Everyone is looking to be tight. And I've noticed that over the past couple of weeks, everyone has been riding exceptionally strong to the point where I am just feeling like pack fodder these days. But we're going to have to change that. And now we see Scott's video appear in the upper right-hand corner, and it is party time. So we make the corner here, and there's a good contingent of Rio riders. We got front, Elisa, looks like Dean taking a sip of his water bottle. And this is appropriate given that the rules of engagement state that we must all be around the corner before the games must begin. But looking at the speed, 16, 17 miles an hour, the games need to start in earnest. It seems as if people are looking to start the hard work a little bit later, and I want to go up front. Well, I don't really want to go up front, but I feel I have to do some work. Looking rearward, things are starting to string out, and I didn't really realize that we were kind of just strung out at this point. I thought we were going to still be in a double pace line, but there is a huge gap between me and Steve there in the orange. Still keeping the tempo honest, 19 miles an hour, and we're looking at my wattage, 238 above my FTP for the first 30 seconds or so, but I figure someone else will take over later, and it's got to be hard. And it looks like no one is moving up on my wheel. Checking Scott's video, and the wind is a little bit off of our left shoulder, so Scott has got himself a cheeky little extra draft there. Looks like behind Daniel, saving his wattage for the time that it will indeed be needed. I'm still up front, and my heart rate has now encroached 174. And this is pretty much the red zone for me, and I'm hoping I will be able to recover. I haven't been doing a lot of structured training just because I don't like it. It's just hard, and this is my way to get some hard work in, get in some intervals, and hopefully work on my anaerobic threshold. At this point, Marcelo wanted to pull off and drift back, and I thought to myself, well, I'll just kind of soft pedal a little bit. The wattage, dropped, and you look at my wattage, like 120, 118, and how did I develop a gap here? It looks like no one wants to come up and do any work. Or perhaps they're just waiting a little bit later as this has become more tactical than usual. Marcelo comes up, it looks good, and you can see Scott starting to make his way up, and now there are the three of us. There's no danger, no alarms being sent as there are strong men, Steve and JC back there just lurking. And this is perhaps what people have learned. There's no reason to tow the big men up to the line. They need to be made to do some work, and I agree. Starting to drift back here. I'm hoping to get myself a reasonable position here, but I can't really accelerate to get back up because of there's some blockage. So I'm watching everybody just go back, and I'm shuttled to the back, and this is not where I want to be. Not good. Well, at least JC is back here. Good shot of Mike there. Looks like Brian, and looks like Fred and Curtis bringing up the rear there. Nice, tight group, and no selection has been made yet. The speeds are good, 25 miles per hour. My 30-second power is good, and comparing it to Scott's, he's at 234. I'm at 187. Not too shabby here, especially considering I am on the windward side and I'm looking for some shelter here. Marcelo and the purple, they're out in the wind, and I am trying to get myself any kind of relief to bring my heart rate down to 171, and JC comes alongside, and at this point it was welcome. That was just enough draft to help me recover just a little bit here mentally. And now we're being shuttled back as there are those that do not want to or cannot keep the pace. There's Ian in the front wearing the black kit, pedaling strong there. And I can see a little bit of daylight between my little group and Ron Kennedy up in the yellow kit, the breakaway kit. That is too much daylight. And this is where Scott is just letting that go. I'm not certain why he did that. Maybe he did a strong turn, but looking at his wattage, he is well capable of doing more than that. I'm finding myself needing to move up here, and it is difficult as there are too many people that are opening up just slight gaps here, and it takes a little bit of work to close this, and especially being on the windy side. I envy those who were riding coattails that are tucked in nicely on the right. They are enjoying some serious shelter there, and that is really where I want to be. A little bit of a gap here, and I'm hoping, I'd really want to be where Mark is in the blue on the Bianchi there, because that's like sweetness. Enough draft, would have been on Scott's wheel, but now I'm still out in the wind here, and my heart rate has once again increased up to 177. Even Scott's is up to 160, so we know everybody's working. I can't see who has made the attack off the front, but no one wants to go with them. Everyone is just waiting. But it is a strong contingent there. It looks like Elisa on the front of the peloton there, holding those two gentlemen in check, as the big men on this little grade now decide to close this up. Mr. Kennedy, the breakaway rider, and Steve from the OCR posse, bringing this all back together as gaps begin to open, and the selection, in fact, is now being decided. And I am caught back in almost no man's land. There are some wheel suckers behind me, and I can just see Dean in the Rio kit just dangling right in front of me. I'm just hoping to be able to bring him back. But looking at my wattage, in 192 something, now dropping into the 130s, just all over the place. I am pretty much spent as my heart rate was up to 180. Looking for help, but no help from those behind me. I want to keep an honest pace, so I just press on, hoping to bring people back, and Dean is a fine carrot. And the big men up front are just a ramming and a thumping as we turn to Scott's camera. JC, and I probably should have asked for his power, having Scott being drug along, and JC is kind as he is not guttering anybody, giving plenty of space for those who would want to contend the sprint. Scott being right there, and I know there's a whole gaggle of people as the selection has not quite been made yet, and I only wish I could have been there. I think I could have been there if I was in the right position. I think I need to force myself up a little bit higher, but looking rearward, Daniel looking strong there in the wind there, and Jamie riding coattails looking way too comfortable there as she was easily able to gap some of the people that were behind her. Looks like my little meager wattage, 150, 160, as I am pretty much spent, and no one is coming up. Maybe it is too much, but it looks like our little posse is being shredded, even by the meager amount of power that I am eking out. Either that or my watt meter is wrong, but I don't think so. But maybe I should recalibrate it, as it is that homebrew kit from Watt Team. The one where you glue it onto your cranks and you calibrate it yourself, and it was only $99 on sale on eBay. But I digress. Rearward, it looks like a few people being dispatched as we are put into arrears. Up front, it looks like a strong man. It looks like that could be Dean of the Rio team up front. And I really wish I could see who is up in the mix there. Looks like people are moving around pretty good there. Wasn't quite certain what was going on. Looks like we're kind of all over the road, but at this point, a lot of watts are being put out. Looks like Scott in the mid 200s for his 32nd. I could be there if I was there, but I'm not there. Just hoping to bring back Dean. So that must not be Dean up. I don't know who that is up front. Maybe that's Oh, that must be Tom on the trek. Yes, I believe that is Tom. And he looked like he was kind of waggling a little bit up there. Maybe I'll have to scrutinize this again to see what was going on. But it looked slightly dodgy. And I'm not going to take the time to wind that back this time because, well, it's late. And I haven't gotten this video out. And it's almost Tuesday. And it's time. Anyway, Scott goes to the front pushing some good wattage. And there is clear daylight. As we can see with my little posse. People just sitting in. Mark looking strong there, and he's not really getting much shelter as he's also in the wind. Fred looking pretty strong there, and he has been on vacation on spring break, and without a lot of miles is still riding really strong. Got some shelter there from Mark for a little bit, but it looks like we have been able to reel in Dean as the people that were sitting behind me push on. And looking at Scott's wattage, 32nd, 360, and ever increasing. And he's able to still pull this off after recovering from his earlier rendezvous with the TTH men. Plenty of matches in his book. And here I am, dispatched. And it looks like Scott takes this one, even with the mighty JC there. Even with the mighty Steve. And it looks like Scott has really come up in the world. I'll be looking forward to seeing his race results. And he will represent the TFR TTH crowd proudly. There's Dean at the lower screen there giving me some shelter. But at this point, I am SPENT spent. I can't wait to get my fitness back. But at least I'm not on the gravel bike today. And that feels good. Well, as always, a good time was indeed had by all. Selection was made. People worked hard. That was fun. Not too much going on in the way of sketchiness, but I should probably wind that back and see like what is actually going on here. Like this is actually pretty boring here. So people are going to turn around, no big deal. You know, I'll fast forward through that. You see the Jeep, everybody. So now we're going to wind back here. Going way back here, and let's see what's going on. Everything looks pretty good here in the upper right. Yeah, I'm not going to spend the time trying to find out what was going on there. That's where you really need to have the 360 camera. It makes it really obvious when stuff is dodgy. But with that, I bid everyone adieu, and until next time, let's party on.